Hey everybody, this is Zeni.
And this is Tolfor.
We've gotten a couple of questions about what Lime Green Network is and what our stream is and just, what is our purpose and other things like that. And so we decided the best way to handle questions like that would be to just kind of have an audio chat here while we've got some gameplay going on from previous recordings that we've done in the background. Now, I'm going to be doing some video editing and just changing over on the fly here, so if it starts wigging out, that's not you, that's me. So, yeah, let's get started here.
I think he can handle this. He's pretty pro at the whole editing thing.
Yeah, right.
All right, so the first question we've got here is pretty simple. What is Lime Green Network to you? To me, Lime Green Network is really nostalgic, but it's also what I hope to be seeing a lot in my future. I originally started this site up, the first iteration of it, when I was 13 years old. And it was basically just a bunch of, dorky game guides that I put up that I wrote myself, and some forums that, like 6 of my friends were on a regular basis. And, I mean, it was fun, and it was a good experience, but then when I came back to it all these years later, I sat down at age 23 and said, you know what? I'm going to bring this site back. It's been dead for several years, and it's just been like this childhood site of mine for a long time, and I want to make it legitimate now. I've graduated, I've gone places in my life. I think that I can really make this a great, I don't want to say like a media empire, but I want to have this be a hub for all of my interests, and I want to make them other people's interests.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, for me, Tolf doesn't want to say media empire, I do. Like, I see Lime Green Network as this opportunity to kind of do something that's this persistent entity, I guess is a good way to put it, where we're just kind of doing our own thing, but recording it for other people to see. And so far, it's been working out pretty well, And, if I can make, I don't know, I guess, I don't want to say profit or anything, but just like some kind of mark, but just doing what I like to do, that's great for me, and that's what Lime Green is to me. It's just this outlet for some things I like to do, while also happening to be something that other people can see and judge and appreciate.
And I mean, I think this cheesy summary is, Lime Green Network is to both of us, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity that we're creating ourselves, and I love that.
Right. All right, next question. What do you do specifically on Lime Green Network? And I guess we're going to go with a format of Tolfor answering first, and then me answering. So go ahead.
All right. So what I do on Lime Green Network is, originally I put the site up from the ground up. It's just from a skeletal state to what it is now. I plan layout. Obviously I stream video. I make recordings. I write. I blog. I update posts, and so most I would say I do the planning and I do the content.
Yeah, and I guess me, I do a lot of the technical work in the background. While he builds the front page, I build the side pages. We have blogs now, which is something that it's kind of new, but we hope to expand on it. I've got an anime review blog because that's kind of my sub thing that I like to do. Tolf's got a video game review blog that he's got starting to get set up, and hopefully we'll have that running pretty soon. And in general, obviously we both stream. I stream for both video games and the anime. Tolf pretty much just does the video games. Yeah. In terms of like what we do, like as a unit on Lime Green, is we try to take things that people just who wouldn't be interested in it or who were vaguely interested but didn't want to get committed to something can just see either the anime or the game, see what's going on, get our input on it, but also be able to draw their own conclusions from it, and hopefully just I guess we want to be decent source of information.
I mean, I think it meets at a point kind of between like a let's play and a first look. I want to be able to put games out like Terraria, and we do this. We stream Terraria, and Terraria is this great indie game, and
Hang on, I'll switch
some
to
people
it.
have heard of it. You what? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Some people have seen it. Some people, have heard of it. Some people have played it, and I want to. No matter how much you know about it to begin with, I want to make it look like something that you would at least want to give a chance. And I mean, I'm saying that about Terraria as an example, but just for any game like that, for any game that you might have heard of. To give you an example, I mean, this is an older game, but watching Zeni stream Symphony of the Night, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, made me want to play Symphony of the Night, and I love it now. It's one of my favorite Castlevania games. I'd never played it before.
Right. So I guess that's what we do on Lime Green. Right.
Okay. So the next question is, what kind of coverage do you do? And I think we kind of already covered that.
Yeah, I feel like we nailed that one.
Yeah, that seems like a bit of a repeat now that I'm looking at it. But yeah, basically, Zeni focuses on the anime. Both of us focus on the video games. That's kind of all there is to it, really.
Yeah, I feel like we can move on to the next one.
So yeah, so the next question would be, what do you feel you offer that viewers can't find elsewhere? And I mean, that's a very important question for anybody who wants to run a site like this, because you got to have your niche. I think one of the things that makes us cool is that we stream games and cover games that aren't brand new. You can go anywhere and you can find a review of the latest blockbuster title, but there's not many places you can find a current perspective on an older game. And going back to the Castlevania Symphony of the Night example, that game is pretty old. It's been out for quite a while. A lot of people know about it already. But where can you go to find a current perspective review on it? You can't find many reviews written about that game more than a couple of years after its release. And I think that's our niche. That's kind of what we offer. Is we give the present perspective on the past.
Right. Well, I don't know about Tolf, but what I feel I offer is that my voice sounds like this and not this. Yeah. That pretty much sums it up pretty well, I think.
That's him.
Right. So, next question would be what would you say the difference is between the modern video game and 20 years ago?
Biggest difference is what I was just talking about, blockbuster titles. I don't think that existed the way that it does now back then. 15, 20 years ago, blockbuster title would have been something like Super Mario World. And that it sold and people played it and people know it, but it didn't have the media attention that gets today. When a game today, like when Halo 3 came out, that was a giant media social event, not just the release of a video game that a lot of people were going to buy and play. There were fireworks, there were all these publicity stunts, there were midnight releases, stuff like that just didn't exist back then. So I think the biggest thing is gaming is a lot more glitzy now. And I mean, that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a lot glitzier and it's a lot more it's more socially acceptable, I guess. I don't know. That's what I would say.
I feel like games today are a lot more, like, their audience is a lot wider. And the developers realize that and they've changed to compensate for that. But, like, for example, a puzzle like the one I'm showing here, this is from Monkey Island. And it's a puzzle involving a nasty little trick with a guy showing you different hand signs and trying to get you to figure out mathematically what he's showing you. And that's the kind of thing you would never see today. Like, you really just wouldn't. Games, at the very least, are going to give you some kind of, like, hint system or something. And I feel like I'm not saying, like, oh, new games are for casuals, herder, but, like, there's this very dramatic shift in the perspective from the developers where it went from, oh, this is cool, let's do it, to, oh, will they get this? Type deal. And I feel like it's kind of overdone now.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. That kind of fits into what I was saying. Like with the this is what I was trying to say when I said more socially acceptable. Um, yeah, it's not just that they're catering to a wider audience, but it's that they're focusing specifically on making sure that everything that they do could apply to anybody and could be used by anybody. And again, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It broadens our hobby and it makes it more accessible and gives us more people who we can talk about it with. But on the flip side, those really, like Nintendo hard type games are just something that doesn't exist anymore,
Well, except for Dark Souls.
except for Dark Souls.
All right, and last question. Got to answer this one pretty quick. Is what's your goal with Lime Green Network?
Okay, I mean, my goal, if we're not going to be afraid of saying this, I am going to say it too. We want to build a media empire. I want to have blogs that a ton of people read. I want to put up reviews and get feedback and I improve my own writing, improve the way that I write my reviews, and get them read. Get people interested in games that they wouldn't have been interested in otherwise. Get people information, save them from bad buys. Hell, I mean, it's not all good. There's going to be stinkers that we would look at, and we're going to say stay away from this. And I love the idea of being able to share my opinion that way online with a large audience. I know that's kind of a little self-centered maybe, but that's what it's about. And I would love if this hobby that I have, the video games and the writing, can meld together and become this thing that not only are people interested in looking at my opinion, but I can actually make a living off of this. If I could get some ad space and make a little bit of money on the side, that's fantastic because I'm enjoying myself.
All right, and on my end, I mean, yeah, it's something where I want to be able to. My goal really is to get something out there that people want to read that I'm writing, basically, or not just writing, but doing like this. And again, kind of building off of what Tolfor said, I feel like there is this, I guess, predisposition among people. They think that since something's older, it's inferior, and that's not the case. I'm not saying older is superior either, but there's games that came out a while ago, and I'm not talking about just really old, but in between there, like PlayStation 1. Hell, even people even shun like PlayStation 2 now in lieu of the better games. And yeah, the technical things do increase, but what people seem to forget now is that you play games for fun. And that's what the main thing is. You're playing a game. And I want to remind people of that. That's about it, really.
Yeah, agreed. Works for me.
Right. So, yeah, that was our
Q&A.
Yeah, I guess our Q&A, our frequently seen questions, answered by us. Yeah. Anything in closing?
Just that I hope that we're doing what we hope that we do. I hope that we're putting out stuff that people want to see, and we love feedback. So don't be afraid to comment or whatever needs to be said.
As long as it actually matters.
Yeah, as long as it's not just a smiley face.
I hate smiley faces.
They can be okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's us out then.
All right. Farewell.